It's the most gruesome crime in the history of the city of Los Angeles, and it's still unsolved all the way back from 1947. Tonight we're talking everything about the infamous Black Dahlia murders here on American Loser.
Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
On the edge they take the throne, built on bones of those unknown. Not in first, never last, still erased from the past. I am an American loser. No one remembers my name. No legacy and no future. One step behind in the game.
Folks, you know what time it is here. We're back on American Loser. We're in our gas digital era still. You can join the network, be a part of the movement here, folks. But you know the deal. If you're a longtime listener, it's American Loser. We're telling weird, messed up stories from American history. We're putting the spotlight firmly on second place, showcasing lesser-known stories. And if you guys are brand new to the show, I say it every week because if you're brand new to the show, I truly do believe this is the week you wanted to be joining us. We have a hell of a topic here. It mixes in a little bit of the true crime stuff. Mixes in a little bit of history, and of course the opportunity to sit there and talk about an unsolved crime, which I was haunted by Robert Stack and Unsolved Mysteries as a child to the point where it interrupted my sleep. But we're back at Gas Digital, folks. It's Thanksgiving, 2 days before Thanksgiving when we're recording this. And you know it's close to the holidays because absolutely everybody has come together to block traffic on Canal Street for about 2.5 hours. So we got that going for us. Also stuck in the traffic was my producer, the one and only Lord and victorious in Skankfest yet again, Mike Harrington. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, KP. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here, too. And I'm sorry we're late. I apologize to Dom. Dom is our sound engineer, just a great guy, helped us grow the show to a lot of things. And we like to keep him happy. We have running jokes on the show where we try to play with his ethnicity vaguely. We make him a DEI hire every week, so that way we have someone in the room for representation purposes when we talk about stuff. But this is a purely white person episode in topic and everything. But you also don't want to make Dom mad because he's a low-key sociopath. I don't know if you guys knew that. So always be fearful of Dom. It's the quiet ones that'll get you. A not quiet one is my guest today, returning guest for Loser Devotees, one of my best friends in the world of comedy, one of my best friends in general. I love the guy. I went to his wedding. He's going to immediately say, I don't really know you. That's his go-to line.
Don't take my lines, KP.
But returning to the show, folks, my pal, his first time here at the Gas Digital Studio with us, Big Rich from Jersey.
Hello, KP. Thank you for having me here.
Buddy.
I feel like I finally made it up to the big leagues because long-term listeners will know at one point I was the most common guest you've ever had here.
Yes, the shared universe days, you were number one with a bullet.
Absolutely. So when it was okay to drive down the Parkway 3 hours, I'm your best friend. When you're in New York City with big-time people at the legit studio, it takes a long time for you to call me.
Are you suggesting that that just the mere fact that the studio is not actively on fire or condemned is that we've upgraded? That's what it is? That's how low the bar was?
There's a slight upgrade. But no, thank you very much for bringing me over.
Dude, it's great, man. It's been awesome being on Gas Digital. The fans have been awesome. The people that keep finding the show and liking it, we appreciate that. Of course, the best way to support us right now is at KP Burke Sucks over on Instagram. We're putting out new reels and clips all the time. We get this a lot. I sent it to Harrington earlier. I don't know, because Dom is a sociopath, so he can't experience emotions. But we might get him excited about this one. Dom, you know who likes your work now on this show?
I actually did see your story earlier. I saw
Diplo, which I just found out is a white guy. I just found that out. I had to text my little cousin, Katie Grace, KG we call her. She's good people, and she goes, he's definitely cool, but he is a white guy. Possibly British. We couldn't figure that out. But whatever, shout out Diplo.
Hello.
Thank you. Diplo joins Mariska Hargitay and a bunch of other celebrities that will follow me for about 3 weeks before they're like, what? Hang on. Who is Louis J. What?
And
so,
yeah.
It's, we're going to enjoy our time together with Diplo. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I love the topic that you're going to throw at me. So.
You're perfect on this. And I'm very happy because it's not your first time on the show, but it is your first time on the show since you retired.
Yes,
so
officially.
Now, you talk about, I'm allowed to say what it was that you did?
Sure, it's legal now.
Okay, so he's a retired police officer, folks. I won't say what town or what rank, but it was high up in Essex County, all right? And you were one of the guys that taught me, I didn't watch The Wire until way late.
No.
But I know Harrington's a huge fan of it, too. There is for all the cops, the classic one that people don't like, where it's like a pseudo jock, the turn off the body cam memes, the hyper military vibes. You taught me very quickly how to be somewhere between, what was the Al Pacino movie where he was the cool cop?
The cool one or the snitch?
Nah, oh man, you just towing the company
Are we
line
going to
here.
Serpico already?
What do you
I'm
got,
not
Harrington?
Serpico.
Are you saying Heat?
No, he was the one. I mean, he was amazing on that.
Hooah!
Up and he's pretty
he
cool.
was just, my wife, she's got a big fat ass. Anytime I move a television, by the way, I put it underneath my arm and I walk away and I have to say the line from Heat.
You have to. You have to.
Give him the line, Richie.
No, it's. I can't do it justice. All I can do is hooah.
But you showed me, so it's somewhere between Serpico and then very much when I'm watching The Wire, I was like, is Big Rich McNulty?
McNulty. That was the goal. That was the type of cop. Yeah. So after 25 years retired, KP knows. Obviously, I try to keep that under wraps with the comedy career.
Had to.
And but now I'm free. I'm free
you
to
can
talk
finally
about
say
anything.
all the things you want on stage, but unfortunately, George Floyd's just not in the news anymore.
Yeah, it's weird. Once I'm able to speak freely, the whole country's woke now, so I'm just going to give up comedy anyway. But it was a good run. Good run.
Well, we had a bunch of wild nights at some cop bars in certain parts of New Jersey, and you're just a fun conversation, General. So, but I get to bring you on here as number one, a guy who gets the show. Number two, a retired police officer, because we're talking true crime here tonight.
Right.
And then also, you and me are both history guys, so this works.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely one of your 18 listeners. I'm one of them.
You're the best.
From the beginning.
That's I think the first husband-wife duo we ever had on the show was you and Danny, too, by the way.
That's true. Talking Bonnie and Clyde back in the day.
It was, well, another true crime one. See, I do have a niche that I kind of put you into here. But before we dive into the topic, folks, and it is a good one. If you don't know, I'm going to ask Harrington and Dom real quick. Did you guys know about the Black Dahlia murders?
I'm vaguely aware of like a movie about it from the mid 2000s, I want to say, but
Mid is the right word for that movie.
it was very mid, the definition. That's why I still don't know what happened. I think I fell asleep during it.
So I literally told Rich this. There is a movie. It's based off a novel that has a couple of interesting things that play into later in the story. It does. How would you describe it?
So here's what I'll say. We're talking about Black Dahlia. It's very similar to Pearl Harbor because they were both tragedies starring Josh Hartnett.
That's how bad that movie is. I forgot he was the lead. I couldn't remember for a
both
week.
tragedies. Oh, and they actually really happened.
It's
true.
They all did. That's true. Now the movie has. How do you go wrong with a cat? First of all, you get Brian De Palma to direct it. James Ellroy is the author who wrote the novel, and he also wrote what I think is one of the best cop movies ever, which is L.A. Confidential.
Yeah.
So you take Brian De Palma from Untouchables and a bunch of other stuff he did that was great. And then you also have, I want to say he did Carlito's Way. I can't remember. I think he did.
Possibly.
So you got a legendary director. You have great source material. You have it's a true crime here. You cast Hilary Swank. You cast Scarlett Johansson. Josh Hartnett. I think Aaron Eckhart maybe. You got it up in front of you, Harrington? I don't know if he does or not. I thought he did. His eyes lit up, so maybe he just saw ScarJo's boobs in that movie.
Does she show boobs in that movie?
No, but I mean, you spend. I'll tell you what. I tuned out of the movie and just started focusing on her.
Okay, fair enough.
And then the worst possible thing that can happen to you, it is, for whatever reason, Mia Kirshner has always had a firm grip on my testosterone levels. And she plays the woman in question, who is more infamously known as the Black Dahlia. But we're going to tell her true story tonight. Her real name was Elizabeth Short. So, but Mia Kirshner is so tantalizing.
Scrumptious? Was that the word?
Scrumptious is a word. She made me...
Gives you a big smile.
Where they're too hot and you can't process the movie anymore.
Well, I did not know who this woman was until I did a Google.
Yep.
She is the stand-in for Sarah Michelle Gellar in Not Another Teen Movie.
Yes, she is.
And that's like, I mean, talk about iconic.
Yeah.
The fact that she kills doing comedy in that movie is awesome. And then just real easy to look at.
I had no idea
attractive
she
young
was
woman.
doing comedy. There was no blood left in my ears to hear the jokes.
Yeah, she's one of those girls where when she comes on screen, everyone gets a little paler in the room. But she plays into the. It's funny because what she plays into in the movie is actually part of what the media sensationalized. So to break down the story here real quickly, picture this, folks. You're walking down the street on maybe a morning stroll or something like that. You're on your way to go get a cup of coffee or whatever, early in the morning, and all of a sudden you see what you think is a mannequin. Okay, you think it's a mannequin, and you get a little bit closer, and then you start wishing it was a mannequin because you realize it's actually the severed torso of a woman. All right?
Womp womp.
Yeah. Now, Rich, you've seen some terrible crime scenes in your
Yes.
time as law enforcement. You've seen you probably met more psychopaths in comedy, like my stay on the Navy. I met crazier people in comedy in the first 5 years.
I've met two just in this studio between the front door and sitting down.
Harrington, you really, you're a true New York story on this one. Have you ever seen a dead body in the streets?
No, never in the streets. This
No?
is there's
And
no
Dom, we can't ask this because he doesn't have emotions.
Well, he can plead the
folks.
fifth.
That's just plead the fifth. Just go ahead. Just let it all happen.
Yeah, definitely my share of dead bodies along the way. I can honestly say I've never seen one severed in half.
And it's not just severed in half too, because like I'm sure there's gruesome like car accidents and stuff where people lose appendages or whatever. But that story that hypothetical we gave you, that's actually the reality for this woman who is walking her baby in a stroller. It's the worst part. Just picture poor Alex taking your beautiful, darling daughter out for a walk to go grab a kombucha somewhere. And all of a sudden she goes, Mike, there's we thought it was a mannequin, and it turns out it's some woman in two pieces. Now, Harrington, your assumption, and I can't ask Dom again because he's going to know the scientific answers to this, you would assume that'd be a very gruesome crime scene, right?
Yeah, certainly.
10,000%.
Yeah, I mean, if a body's freshly cut in half, whether I've seen it in car accidents or, as a result of a murder, there's going to be blood everywhere.
It's maybe you're the wrong guy to ask this, and I don't want you to have to give away anything that it would be a secret. When there is like blood on a crime scene, what do they use to clean it?
Oof, good question. We call in professionals because we don't like to touch anything.
It's just three Polish ladies from Wallington
Yeah.
that come in. Oh no, not again.
It's okay. Yeah, there's actually a whole career of crime scene cleaner-uppers. Companies that come out and just do those kind of gruesome things.
It's what else can you say about the immigrant experience on that one, folks? That poor woman, by the way, who's walking up and finding they don't know whose body it is. Obviously, it's in two pieces. That's going to be jarring. She's going to find that in the Leimert Park section of Los Angeles on the morning of January 15th, 1947. So this gruesome crime, very gruesome. And still, by the way, when I said 1947, please remember, this is unsolved. We have I can't give you any new information on this because the FBI on their own website just says, yes, so anyway, probably just our bad.
Well, don't assume. We have a whole podcast to work through this, KP.
Yeah, Harrington, please keep checking Twitter to find out if they solve this in the next 60 minutes, please. This gruesome crime becomes known as the Black Dahlia. The killer is never captured, and her file remains a mystery unsolved on the FBI's own website. The fact that, is it transparency in government, or is it like me posting a set of bombing where I'm like, see, sometimes we just don't have it, folks.
So you have to admit the occasional failure. Just be like, we admit sometimes we want help.
Oh yeah, it can't
If
all be,
anyone knows anything,
we're asking for you to help get involved directly with this crime, folks.
it would save us some time and energy.
Yeah, leave in the comments too, by the way. I want to hear your best possible suspects for this because the list, as I read it, got pretty interesting.
Well, yeah, initially I just figured it was a magic trick gone bad. Like, oh my God, that's the wrong saw.
It's just Joe Bluth from Arrested Development. Just thank God. I mean, I thought the pigeons were bad, but yeah, they wind up calling her the Black Dahlia murder. Here, it is a crime that's certainly going to rattle a few people in the area, and it's a case that still has a strong following to this day. Like, how much did you know about it? Prior to seeing the movie.
I remember hearing about it, but the movie was the first time that I really dove into it.
Oh, it's because you want to sit there and you're like, I know that there's probably a great story in here somewhere. Josh Hartnett's not going to help us get there.
No, that was definitely not it.
He is a hard luck actor because he's good. He's pretty good in a lot of things.
Yeah, you can't say he's bad.
No, he's
It's just he sometimes picks bad movies.
he was the token liberal in Black Hawk Down too, which always the fact that they called him a liberal for being like, I just kind of have respect for the people we're killing.
Those are not human beings.
That's
Shut
the
your mouth, boy.
Yeah, it's the military's version of a liberal, which is what I was too. Where they're like, what? Get out of here, Democrat! What are you trying to come in here with your blue nonsense? I was like, guys, I just said that I don't think that the Afghanis are dogs.
And look at you now.
That's right. Nothing will radicalize you like being stuck in traffic on Canal Street, folks. Interesting to mention here because we got to set it up, folks. It's an intense case that's going to go all the way back to 1947, which feels like a good time for a little zeitgeist.
Bum, bum, bum.
We got drops now, Rich. See? Yeah. We still love the kahuna, but he never gave us a soundbite. Zeitgeist is interesting here. It's 1947. The Second World War is over. Harry S. for nothing Truman is president. The Yankees are playing the then still Brooklyn Dodgers in the first televised World Series. Jackie Robinson is breaking the color barrier. Chuck Yeager is breaking the sound barrier. Farrah Fawcett and David Letterman are born. Al Capone and Henry Ford will die. Something weird crashes down in Roswell. Humphrey Bogart and Gary Cooper are teaching Americans how to be cool, and men and women both are having occasionally strong, damp feelings about a stunning woman named Rita Hayworth. So much so, in fact, that both men and women are having fantasies about Rita Hayworth. Women, their fantasies mostly being wanting to be like her, living a glamorous starlet life. And moving on forward here, Mike Cannon in the building, folks. But she's also got a couple of interesting things going on because her star power is there. She's very attractive to men, so she can kind of command attention when she walks into a room, which I think every girl has wanted to be the belle of the ball at one time or another.
So who would you say nowadays compared? So for the millennials or Gen Zs listening,
Yes, my rising army of what I understand to be groypers. I've been getting a lot of interaction with them on Instagram lately. Not sure what they are.
they're people too.
I'm going to say...
Who's the modern version?
I mean, Harrington, is it too hack to go Sydney Sweeney on that, if you had to give an example?
No, I mean, it was Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption. If they were making that movie today, it would be a poster of Sydney Sweeney, no doubt.
Oh, dude, that's a great pull. That's I love that one, man. Harrington, if I can ask ahead of time, too, if we can get a couple photos of the YouTube-friendly crime scene, if possible here.
And Sydney Sweeney.
That's
to my phone, thank you.
Just a good Sydney Sweeney photo, maybe something of her at a recent event where she maybe wasn't wearing anything under her.
Thank you.
The reason why I say most men and women, or most women rather, are having these fantasies is because there is a section of the female population that is very attracted to women. I know that.
Blame them.
I was the best man at one of their weddings. But that also falls in line with the story here a little bit today, folks. It's a trippy one. Let's solve a crime, okay? Let's solve a crime because there's a good chance that everyone has a fantasy about Rita Hayworth, and maybe our victim today had fantasies in many aspects.
All right.
So... L.A., 1947, Lamert Park, not sure how it's pronounced. I'm sure I'll get yelled at it for in the comments. And by the way, guys, if you yell at me for getting something wrong, please, number one, know that it's a Northern New Jersey education. It's only going to get you so far. My dumb accent that I don't think I have until I get told I have one, it's going to ruin pronunciation for some things. And number two, if you really want to help us out and get these messages directly to me to criticize me properly, I ask that you join the Gas Digital Network using promo code LOSER. You'll get $1 off a month on the entire network and enjoy shows like Legion of Skanks, The Thing Is, and American Loser. That being said, a lot of trippy things about this crime scene over here. It's in Limert Park, which in 1947 is still largely undeveloped. Mm-hmm. So a little bit of a urban decay kind of thing. Or maybe, I'm sure it's beautiful right now. I actually looked this up. Ray Charles lived there for a while.
So who told you what it looks like?
That's he's it's really, I don't understand. Ray Charles just bought largely undeveloped area in LA.
He looks into the side of a mountain.
It's you want to live in the neighborhood where the Black Dahlia murder? I didn't see anything. He could. It was too good to not do that one, folks.
Sorry.
Very Fallon. Trippy things about the crime over here. Thank you. The body was severed at the torso, meaning that there's going to be two pieces of it, which, like we said, must have been a very gory crime scene, as Rich can attest to on that one, and as Dom knows from experiments he does at home. But weirdly, you would think thered be a lot of blood all over the place, but there's none. There's literally no blood found at the crime scene over here, at least not near the body. So Kind of a trippy thing. Now, what would indicate, what's going to ring your bells, a retired police officer, of, all right, well, there's a dead body here, but there's no blood.
There's no blood. So obviously we're looking at the body was cut somewhere else because you can't make blood get up and walk out.
No.
So the attack happened somewhere else. The death happened somewhere else. Just by the way it's described in terms of a cut without blood spilling out. So it had to happen somewhere else. The body then cleaned up to a degree, dumped there.
So weirdly enough, there's a style of cleaning that they do to make sure you can't pull fingerprints and stuff like that off this. They wind up cleaning the corpse with gasoline.
Yeah, they rub it down with gasoline back in the day.
Oh, man. That what's going to smell worse? Just because I get gas on my hands sometimes and it ruins my entire day. Now imagine finding a dead body covered in it.
A little bit of gas smell makes me happy.
Just
I don't
a
know
tiny
why.
bit?
It gives me like a little, oh, yeah, it's a little, my brain starts to get fuzzy. But yeah, so the way you describe it, a body that's been wiped down from top to bottom twice with gasoline.
So this is not, I saw Dom's ears perk up a little bit, but not because he's showing emotion, of which he's incapable.
We're giving him good advice.
He is sitting there and he goes, oh, that must have been the old techniques before we moved on to more of a Clorox confection that I have here. What do you got, Dom?
I'm taking notes over here.
Do not cross Dom, folks, all right? One time I told him that we didn't need him that week, and I'm pretty sure a dead squirrel wound up on my front doorstep about a few days later. Now, I can't blame it on him because, oddly enough, the squirrel was clean with gasoline. Now, if you find a crime in L.A. like this in the 90s, where it's a dead body drawn full of blood, we're obviously looking for Sarah Michelle Gellar. Yes. This has to be something in the Buffy the Vampire universe. But this is pretty scary and sketchy for 1947. And even with their less developed crime scene forensics of the time, they do establish, like Big Rich said, that this absolutely had happened. This is the site of the dumping of the body, not where the crime was perpetrated. So it's also highly likely that the perpetrator, when you do something that, like if you see a car accident, you see somebody, that was harmed in a car accident like that, there's trauma shown on the body, right?
Yes.
But this seems a little bit more surgical.
Yeah, they said the cut seemed, that's why a lot of the initial reports were like, was it a medical suit or something like that? Because the cut was almost surgical, like you said. So if you're killing out of anger, if you're killing out of lust, are you taking your time and making perfect cuts?
Is it really a crime of passion at that point?
Right.
Well, interestingly enough, they did wind up, it is so medical, in fact, that in order to help try to solve the crime, they have students from the medical school at University of Southern California take a look at the stab and cut wounds. And if anyone is going to, it's a crime. We probably would have solved this if Mark Sanchez was still enrolled in school there, because as we know, he's got a little bit of, maybe some legal issues recently about his pervasive knowledge of the efficacy of stabbing.
Yes, you can throw it out there whenever you want. You stab people.
It's puncture wounds. All right, let's just say he knows a few things about puncture
wounds. Just a flesh
wounds.
wound.
But that's what you do. You don't keep, you don't keep a Heisman runner-up waiting, folks, for his DoorDash. You just don't do it.
It's a runner-up. Let's call it like it is.
You thought what he did was bad. Oh man, it's Reggie Bush is off the hook. That's all I'm saying, folks. But also, interestingly enough, is that this was not the scene where the crime was committed. It's highly likely that they had medical knowledge due to a couple things: the cleanliness of the cuts, and also the corpse had what is a very infamous thing. When you talk about this crime, it immediately comes in. I think it's in the cover art of the movie and probably the book as well. Harrington, do we have any crime scene photos, by the way, by chance? Nothing YouTube friendly? Oh, there you go, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, most of these photos were taken by the press back then.
So that's our girl, by the way. That is Elizabeth Short, who's going to become infamously known. She becomes the legend, if you will, because you say Elizabeth Short, everyone's like, "Oh, I'm guessing was that the chick from Bewitched?"
Oh, she was cute, though.
Yeah, she was cute. But you can't figure out who she is. But then if you say the Black Dahlia, people know immediately what you're talking about. And probably, to me, obviously, a severed torso is a creepy-ass crime. But then you have the Glasgow Smile. You know anything about that?
Is that named after the character from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
That's a good pull. Well, what is a Glasgow Smile, you ask? Dom, I know you're going to like this just because you enjoy the comic book world. You've seen The Dark Knight, correct? I'm going to assume he has. It's one of those movies you got to see.
Not in a while, but I've seen it when it first came out in theaters when I was younger.
So, but Hunter, I'm not Hunter, Jesus. I don't even know why I just called him Hunter. The Joker in that movie. Here we go. Oh, whoa, serious. Harrington, what did you just pull off here?
So this is a Black Dahlia costume that they are selling.
Imagine that. Imagine and we're going to get into the poor victim's mother because she has so many cruelties bestowed on her. But if she was alive today and she's like, people are dressing up as slutty versions of my daughter's dead body.
Man, that's tough. That is tough.
Halloween is just, it's a different animal, folks.
I mean, as long as they're slutty, I'll let them in the bar, but...
I was going to say, it really, all it takes is that costume. Just give the little face makeup and a pair of fishnets and your costume's done. Yeah. I suppose that's it. But Elizabeth Short's going to she's going to lose her own identity in this. So part of what I want to do today is actually talk about the real stuff that happened to her, which is pretty interesting. And then also talk about how the press sensationalized the story to the point of literally no return. How often have you seen it? I don't think it was probably in any, I'm speaking out of ignorance here, where maybe it happened to you personally, or you can just clearly see that the media frenzy behind a crime impedes on the ethics of the investigation.
100%.
Every time.
Yes. I don't want to say every time, but enough where I can see it. Nowadays you'll see it more with, the social media, kind of the outside influences of community groups who want answers, almost to the point where police departments are throwing answers up there before they have them.
Oof.
Yeah. So I've definitely seen that firsthand. And back in the day, I was actually a journalism major for 2 years before I switched to criminal justice.
Oh, man, you really are the wire as a person, aren't you?
And I hate to say it like this, but the reason I got out of journalism is because I didn't like the ethics of it.
It's a tough one, dude. There's a great movie that I think everybody should see. It's called Nightcrawler. Sorry, Dom, not the X-Men. It's Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's him as a crime scene reporter. Not reporter, but a crime scene journalist, if you will. And he does a ton of unethical things, and but everything that he has sells, and he makes a lot of money off of it because they go off the mantra, if it bleeds, it leads.
100%.
So that's there. I think we're in an era right now. Thank God she's not really on TV anymore, but it used to be that if you heard Nancy Grace talking about a crime, you're like, well, this guy's getting away with it because Nancy Grace is going to say shit she shouldn't say.
No, they crush investigations. They influence too many things. Or even just the reference of the photos that you just showed of Elizabeth Short, those were taken by journalists because they used to rush the crime scene to take photos. And back then, they would put them right into the papers.
Now, there is a photo of her that is Harrington did show, and it's not the one you're talking about, because you're talking about the crime scene ones where the journalists got there immediately.
Yes.
And they run with the details so fast on this one that they're absolutely complicit in why this is an unsolved crime. Literally, I think in a grand jury testimony later on, the LAPD detectives were like, well, the press kind of mismanaged all of this. We couldn't even solve it. And so much so, in fact, that the sensationalism behind this story led to at least 500 confessions. I'm not saying like, hey, I got a little info for you, here's a little scoop.
No.
500 people coming in and confessing to the murder. So now imagine, you have to sort through 500 stories and figure out who has, which, by the way, the LAPD, to their credit, did figure out ways to put out false information, knowing that the press would run with it. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here, too, which is exactly what happened with the press. So I'm just as complicit in all of this. I was talking before about the Glasgow smile. Now, the Glasgow smile is, it sounds like a happy thing, right? Oh, there. Wow, that's a great one. Tell me that this photo right there was not seen by David Lynch, and he goes, I have a great idea for a show about coffee. It's going to be great. It'll be in the woods. It's great. Rest in peace, legend. The Glasgow, not to be confused with the Glasgow kiss. I did not know this. Don't mess with Dom, folks. Don't mess with TR. But also just try to abstain from messing with Scottish people, because the Glasgow kiss is actually just what we would call a headbutt.
Oh, okay, that's adorable.
Yeah, so that's Glasgow, Scotland, where they that's how they greet each other, with a swift headbutt, right? Forehead to forehead.
Hey.
Or if you want to go full Zidane or whatever his name was from the French national team in soccer, where he just headbutted the guy in the chest, which I was like, that had to hurt him more than it. But whatever, it worked. The Glasgow smile If the kiss is a headbutt, the smile has to be worse, and in fact it is, folks. I'm going to turn my head here on this one. Let's see if I point to the right side. So I believe a Glasgow smile is you take a box cutter, folks, and you start here at the lip, and you work your way all the way up to the ear. And that is actually what is most famous, I should say probably most famous, from Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker in The Dark Knight. You want to know how I got these scars? I had a terrible trip to Scotland. It was awful.
It was Scotland.
It was.
They asked me, do I want a kiss or a smile? I chose the wrong one.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Should
that
have
got
took
me.
a headbutt.
Yeah, headbutt. What would you like, a kiss or a smile? Your choice. Famous examples of this, by the way, in our shared universe, Mr. Harrington. Chibs from Sons of Anarchy. The actor Tommy Flanagan, who is most famous in Me and Rich's world for Braveheart. He actually has a legit Glasgow smile where he was jumped as a DJ. That scar is a legitimate. People took a box cutter to his face and ran it up to the side from the corner of his mouth up to his ear. That is a legit scar he got from being jumped at a nightclub.
You play the Bee Gees once a night. That's it.
Ironically, staying alive, right? That's well, it's a terrible one here. That is the Glasgow smile, which, of course, the Black Dahlia has on both sides of her face, I believe, if I'm right.
Yeah, I believe so.
I might be wrong on that particular detail. But just important note to yourselves, guys. Stop insulting Scotland. That's the bottom line. More weird stuff about the crime scene is that the top part of her body is about a foot away from the lower part of her body. They stuffed her intestines neatly in her own butt crack.
Okay.
Yeah, a little gruesome over here. And it appeared that the body was, now keep in mind the torso is separated and there's about a foot in between the two of them, as we said. It appears that her body is posed with her arms bent at right angles over her head, and the lower torso is left with legs wide open. This is the kind of stuff that makes normal people squirm, but also gives Dom a little bit of a chub. So, future famous female reporter, and I make that distinction because of the times. Keep in mind it is 1947. A woman who's going to be there on the scene almost immediately takes the photos that Big Rich was talking about before. Do you know about Aggie Underwood?
No, I do not.
Yeah, she was a famous reporter. She was known as the first lady in the newsroom. So the first lady of the newsroom, I
Her
should
name,
say.
she sounds like a halfback.
Yeah, Aggie Underwood.
Johnny Unitas hands the ball
That's
off.
right, University of Texas, El Paso. But she's one of the first people that's there on the crime scene. She takes the most famous photos of the crime scene. And she's there before the detectives even have a chance to really get a look at it. The press was almost there before the cops, as
That's
sad
crazy.
as it is. So police are able to, they can find a couple of things. They find a heel print that was in some nearby tire tracks. And then this one's creepy, too. Remember we said there was no blood on the crime scene? There wasn't, but they did find watery blood, which I really want to know what the chemical constitution of that is. We're like, oh, this blood's really watery. Like, what's the... I feel like they've watered this down. They find it in a cement sack, which was near the site of the body, which sounds like promising leads at the time, but in a crime where the killer is so precise, it's going to prove to be obviously not enough. We're not hiding anything from you here, folks. They never solved this bad boy. The damn good police work portion of the story comes from this part. It's 1947. It probably would take, when you guys have to identify, and don't tell any stories you don't want to have people hear. When you guys have to identify a body, how quickly can you find out who it is that you're dealing with? If there's no identification on them, nothing like that.
No identification. We're good if we can run their fingerprints and put that through the system. So, I mean, that could be anywhere from 12 to 24 hours nowadays.
That's insane. And that's with
If their fingerprints are in the system.
Therein lies the problem.
You know, there's always variables. Sometimes it's later or longer. I mean, other than that, then you got to go start going through who's missing person reports, you know, things like that.
But you guys have a database that you're pulling from.
Ideally, yeah. Yeah, I mean, computers help.
Well, this is an era before computers here. It is 1947, as we said. And the damn good police work portion of this is they can identify the body of the victim pretty quickly. We find out that her name is Elizabeth Short. She is 22 years old, possibly a highly troubled young woman whose real life is about to be upended by the press's creation of the urban legend, the Black Dahlia. First of all, they are able to pull the victim's fingerprints. They're blurred. I don't know if they were blurred in the process of taking the fingerprint. Mm-hmm. Now, as a dumb kid, I remember having a detective kit, and I had a little bit of graphite, and I used to get excited about taking fingerprints. And my mom, because she's a Hall of Famer, we knew somebody who was in the police department. She's like, oh, well, maybe you can, maybe he can tell you about how they take real fingerprints. And I went down there, and my mom was one of the smartest people I've ever met. I go to her for advice all the time. Upon hearing from the police officer that they don't use graphite in those kits at all anymore, they have to put on a gas mask and use the special spray or whatever. Yeah. This is the 90s. She's sitting there, and she hears that, and she's like, wow, that sounds like a lot. Why don't you guys just use graphite? Yeah, I don't know if my mom understood the inadmissible in court portion of crime scene forensics.
Listen, she wanted it done the easiest way possible. I get it.
She's a streamliner,
Yeah, Mrs. B.
Well, she's a good one, man. She will never come on the show, folks. She refuses adamantly.
Well, she does have standards.
That's a... Well, the LAPD is able to get her the fingerprints. Like I said, we don't know if they're blurred because the body's been kind of mutilated to this point, if they're damaged in transit, or if just it's not a great taking of the fingerprints here. But they're able to get them over to the FBI. They reach out to the FBI for help. How real is that when agencies beef with each other? Because if I was a piece of shit detective that I think I would have been if I had been a police officer.
Sure.
Anytime the FBI shows up and like, this is our crime scene, I'd be like, oh man, no, guys, please don't.
Oh, you want to do the work?
I guess I'll just go coach my son's Little League game, do a thing.
Yeah, you often get that. I mean, it's always egos. Sometimes you want to complete your job, and other times you're like, this is a pretty shitty case. I would love for somebody else to take it off my desk.
Oh, man, kick it upstairs. That was my dream. Anytime in the Navy, something would come down my way, and they're like, hey, Burke, you got to go do this. And they're like, actually, HT2 is going to do this. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Hate that guy. But they do get cooperation from the FBI. And this is not... it's not the FBI of the 80s yet, where it's completely... It's still a little bit of a... J. Edgar Hoover's in there, but he hasn't really weaponized the force yet, if you will.
No, but they got a good reputation at that point.
They're gunfighters. They got new technology, and they dress nice. That's pretty much... they're a well-dressed version of the Pinkertons at this point. Good reference for Rich in there and the five other people that got that. Now, it turns out is that... why I say it's damn good police work here, interagency cooperation, and then they're able to identify upon receiving the fingerprints through a very early form of a fax machine. They run the prints, and within 56 minutes, so you said almost a day to find out an ID.
Usually.
Right, which is, that's got to, what else are you going to do while you're waiting to find that out? Everything else you find out is possibly useless. Mm-hmm. And then within 56 minutes, the FBI goes, hey, we figured it out. It's Elizabeth Short. Well, how do they know? The photo that I talked about before that Harrington had up over here, which Carly will put in post again for this moment. Great job, babe. She is, Harrington's got it up. Sorry, babe. Just, you're slipping. All right, Carly? That's what it is. You're slipping. You're doing great work. It's because you're pregnant. It's the hormones. I know, and it can't be easy. Okay? It can't be. I couldn't imagine it. You're doing great. I think it's one of the it's a mugshot, rather, of her. And why that's noteworthy is because the reason why she's in the system for the FBI, a girl has a rap sheet.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yep.
Oh, so she deserved this.
That's 100%.
Why are we even talking about
She was asking for this crime.
Please.
Anyway, folks, that's been a great episode of American Loser.
She had it coming. Listen to us next week. Do we have a sponsor or anything you want to talk about?
Oh, if you'd have been there, if you'd have saw it. This case was not going to be easy to solve for a bunch of reasons, but one little break they get early on is that our girl, Miss Short, was arrested for underage drinking in Santa Barbara a few years earlier. Keep in mind, she's 22 at the time of the crime. So, really, I don't know what the drinking age was back then. It would surprise me that it would be 21.
Yeah, I would have to even think or look at that.
Yeah, because it was, I know my mom had stories about growing up in Jersey that you could go across the state lines into New York and drink at 18.
Yeah, up until the early 80s. New York was still 18.
We lost the city, folks. Go ahead, Harrington. What do you got, brother?
In 1947, the legal drinking age in the state of California was, in fact, 21.
Was it really?
Ooh, Bentiuno.
Good man, Harrington. He's on his money, folks. Fight Camp Harrington is the best Harrington. Okay, I love him in all his forms, but this is the best. So, the LAPD's lead detectives are going to start running with that one. It's not going to be easy to solve for a couple of reasons. Misreporting is going to go on in a hurry. So the people that like to fight with me in the comment section on Instagram, where they say, you left out this part too. No, dude, I have 90 seconds. I'm going to skip over some stuff. And then also, Don't tell me I left it out. If you're wrong, you dumb son of a bitch. All right?
Idiot.
Yeah, there's so many people mad at me right now because they can't differentiate between John Smith and John Rolfe on our Pocahontas episode.
Oh, my God.
Two completely separate Disney movies, folks. That's how I know. You didn't get Disney Home VHS? Okay, it's showing right now. You'd know a little more. But LAPD's lead detectives will also even comment under testimony that the press helped them screw this whole thing up. They wind up spinning some salacious details, but it's a combination of they embellish certain parts of the truth and then they just make other shit up entirely.
You got to sell papers.
It's you're nailing it, by the way. I hope you know that. I think you do. You're a wise man, Rich.
I get around.
Well, how can you not? First of all, there's a lot of things. The media in general is tough, and then there's certain outfits that apply ethics a little bit more rigorously than others. So the worst offenders in the media back in the day is probably going to be, and I couldn't believe the shit that I was reading here, and the fact that a lot of these people had jobs and became respected anchors and columnists from this, because if we did this today, everybody's fired and people are probably facing jail time. But the worst offenders in the media are it's mostly the staff of a paper called the Los Angeles Examiner, which is not a shock when you realize that it is a William Randolph Hearst paper that he had founded back in 1903. Loserception, folks. You want to know more about William Randolph Hearst? Harrington knows a bunch because he listens to the show passively while he plays video games. At least that's how I got here. The paper and its founder are never far from controversy, but their actions during this investigation are, I'm going to go ahead and say, reprehensible.
Reprehensible, criminal, whatever word you want to use.
Did you get into anything about the phone call with the mother?
Yeah.
Dude, Dom does not experience emotions, and even he will say that this is wrong.
It's wrong.
You got to remember, the same way that the people ruin...
Probably worse than the murderer himself.
I think...
We'll make a scale.
Yeah, because it's the sequence of events. That's what makes it so damning. Couple of newspaper reporters from the L.A. Examiner. Again, William Randolph Hearst, the guy who invented yellow journalism, folks.
Yeah,
another reference to him to be made later in the episode, too, because I found a weird connection I think holds up. They're going to find out almost immediately because, like you said, Rich, the press is on the scene almost as fast as the cops. As soon as their scoop pays off and they find out, hey, it's Elizabeth Short, they look her up. They find out that she was from Massachusetts originally, Bedford, which is where Bobby Kelly's from. But they wind up calling the mother up, not the cops, the newspaper people. And they call her up, and they keep her on the phone, and they're prying details out of this poor woman. She's telling stories about what Elizabeth, growing up, I remember this, and I remember that. And her, I think they even say her triumphs as a young schoolgirl, and they're talking to her, and there's 3 reporters listening to this guy on the old school stand-up telephone, and the reporter's literally covering his mouth, and the NPC goes, do I tell her now? And the reason why we're saying that, folks, they don't tell her that her daughter's dead right away. They instead pretend, hi, this is so-and-so from the L.A. Examiner, and your daughter, Elizabeth Short, won a beauty contest. And we just need some info for her biography and her big write-up in the paper.
Well, she was voted nicest smile.
That's a best smile.
In all of Glasgow. But yes, this is scumbag maneuvering.
This is why...
This is horrible.
It's why they teach ethics so that you can't say you didn't know any better. No. Is that fair to say?
Everyone knows better.
It's a damning thing here. They keep her on the phone, and literally to the point where the guy's turning around and they're hearing this woman speak so highly of her daughter and I'm so proud of her, all this other. And he goes, I got to tell her now, right? And the reporter's like, yeah, tell her now. And
pretend you're driving through a tunnel and hang up.
I got to go. Thank you so much. Almost to their credit, but not really. At the very end of the conversation, they go, so just wanted to let you know, got all these details. Thank you so much for your time. Your daughter did not, in fact, win a beauty contest. She's been murdered in one of the most gruesome crimes in L.A. County history. She doesn't believe him. She goes, all right, prank phone call. Elizabeth is fine. She's so committed to the fact that she's been pranked now that she doesn't understand or come to terms with the fact that her daughter was in fact murdered until the local police department calls her because, hey, the LAPD's been calling us. You got to come down to the station and talk. So that's the worst possible prank you could come up with. That's darker than most edgy comics will even go. I mean, this is, I'm going to say it's a degree below evil.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's bad.
So they wind up lying and telling her all this stuff, and there's a couple things in here. It's not the last time that the examiner is going to get involved with something that's detrimental to the case. Under the auspices of being kind, because, I mean, that's how you really get away with stuff, is that the wolf in sheep's clothing thing that people do?
Yeah.
They say, hey, I know we got off on the wrong foot. We've chastised that reporter heavily. As a kindness to you, the LA Examiner would like to pay for your flight and your hotel to come out here and handle the affairs of your now deceased daughter. And
Well, that was nice of them.
it sounds really nice, doesn't it, Rich? Sounds like some good guys over here,
Examiner.
right? Yeah, come on out, man. We'll have a good time over here. Come out to the coast. We'll get together and have a few laughs.
To it.
This is also a little bit manipulative because the LA Examiner is doing this in order to protect their scoop. Because if they know the location and the whereabouts, I'm like, oh, we'll get a driver to come. Oh, did you find out anything in there? You know, it's a guy like hiding his press badge or something like. Oh, it's so crazy. Anything interesting happening while you were in the police department? Any cool phone calls lately? Anyway, where do you want to go? I know a great place for brunch. They are safeguarding her to a degree because they're able to get the information sometimes directly from her. Because this is just a nice woman from Medford, Massachusetts,
At the lowest point of her life.
and you're talking to her on the worst, and you're being kind to her in her worst hour, but only to further gain whatever access to information it is that you seem to think you're entitled to. The media is going to sensationalize the story in a hurry. We said before the Nightcrawler adage was if it bleeds, it leads, but there's an older adage just called sex sells.
It's true.
So our girl Elizabeth, who's pretty, by the way, I saw her photo. I would say she's pretty. Mia Kirshner, that's when you start breathing heavy, right? She wasn't quite Mia Kirshner level, but they sensationalized the story it's a little too fast, actually. Elizabeth Short gets nicknamed the Black Dahlia, which I find out yesterday when I'm writing this, doing my final notes. The Black Dahlia was actually, it was done as like a local, like local kids in a restaurant were like, oh yeah, you heard of the Blue Dahlia, she's the Black Dahlia. Now, that has a couple meanings. Number one, they called her the Black Dahlia because this idea started to manifest that she wore black sheer clothing. And we talked about Sydney Sweeney before. She wore that sheer top or blouse, whatever you want to call it, where she leaves nothing to the imagination. So this woman, they're playing up the idea that she dressed scandalous for the times of 1947. They also said she liked to wear black clothes all the time, gave her a little bit of a goth vibe. That's why all the goth girls are doing their accounts. Oh, look, Rich, we got something for you on the screen there, buddy.
Oh, my God. Is that her?
Let's see.
We
she
can
just honestly, she just looks top heavy, bud. I feel like that boat ain't gonna sail, you know? That's but Elizabeth Short gets this nickname, and the Black Dahlia thing, it comes from a movie called The Blue Dahlia that had come out the year before in 1946, which was featuring a smoking hot Veronica Lake. Veronica Lake had It Girl stuff going on back then.
Looked like Kim Basinger a little bit.
I was waiting for the LA Confidential reference.
Of course, you got to make that reference.
You're the only girl in here. Oh, God. I think you look 100 times better than Veronica. What was it, Vicky Lake? They called her Vicky or something. Veronica Lake. There you go.
Yeah.
More details are emerging about Elizabeth Short. There were parts that are true, like that she bounced between Massachusetts and Florida a bunch, also like Bobby Kelly. Coming from a divorced home, in fact, her father had committed, my understanding is we can't say this word on YouTube, and the kids have put the modern parlance on it, and they refer to it as, you'll figure it out, slip and slide.
My God, it sounds so dirty.
Yes, the father had appeared to have committed slip and slide, and he did it in a very infamous way too. He actually 1930 was the year, and that's about he's going to disappear for 12 years because he leaves his abandoned car near the now Bill Russell Bridge, which is the Charlestown Bridge. If you ever saw the movie The Town, that's that section of Boston over there.
So he faked his own demise.
Yes, sir. And held to his story and started his life over. And he literally went out for the pack of cigarettes and never came back for 12 years.
All right.
So about 12 years go by. Everyone's sad because Elizabeth thinks that her father just jumped off the bridge and committed slip and slide. And then this poor woman, she's like, oh, this is the worst day of my life. The only thing that could be worse is if something terrible happened to me under the auspices of it being a beauty pageant that my daughter won. Yeah, so that's 1930. 12 years later, 1942, a letter will arrive for Elizabeth Short's mother, apologizing to his family for faking his death and abandoning the family. Her father is indeed alive, has started his new life over in California, and invites young Elizabeth. She's not young anymore. She's probably 16, 17 years old, maybe around this time. Invites her out there to stay with him. And she will not last long living with her father. They have a lot of arguments. They don't really get along well, which, of course, the media ran with. Elizabeth met an Army pilot while she was out there, a lot of military bases in California. And she's going to fall for this injured Army pilot who's recovering from a plane crash. Plane crash has to be, if you're a pilot up there, it's got to be like a 1 in a million chance that, number one, you have a crash, number two, you live through it.
Yeah, you're fighting the odds right there.
100%. And this guy goes, I saw the light. I'm in love with you, Elizabeth. I want you to be my wife. Please accept my proposal of marriage. Well, I will have a ring for you when I come see you. I'm writing to you.
Happy ending. What do you
Very
say this is a bad
happy ending.
episode for then? Come on.
Well,
Young love.
turns out this guy had another plane crash and he doesn't make it. And Elizabeth is like, did he really? Or is his car just parked near the plane crash? Is that what's happening?
Can someone check Florida?
Is this? Yeah, come on. But it breaks her heart on this one a little bit, too. Now, she does start to have, there's a bunch of guys that she's seeing. She's more of a social gal than I think most parents would want their daughter to be. I'm lucky because I have a son on the way and 2 stepsons, so they're just going to be animals, and I can just be like, you rascals. But that happens before they can get married, and these things are all true. And it was also widely believed, it's not speculative, this would be a good detail to embellish because there's no way to prove or disprove it. But they are saying that Elizabeth Short did want to break into the movies, which Mia Kirshner plays up. They don't specify what kind of movies Mia Kirshner is trying to make in the beginning of The Black Dahlia, but it's, let's just say it's, you'd have to pay for it with tokens online nowadays. The one she was making.
The movie made it seem like she was willing to do risque movies, whatever it took.
They play up her woman of the evening kind of reputation here. You add in the sheer black thing. You give her the sexy kind of nickname of the Black Dahlia. The Blue Dahlia has, I keep wanting to say Rita Hayworth instead of Veronica Lake, but the press is going to run wild with the fact that she at least wanted to be in the movie business. Now, the intense sensationalism is going to be attached to this case. It's going to hold that, like I said, they're going to describe Elizabeth as an adventuress, which is got a little sexy connotation to it. They paint her from everything as a possible prostitute to a woman who is pregnant to a bastard son, to a closet lesbian, to a whorish dressing harlot who ran into the wrong kind of John in the seedy underbelly of Los Angeles. Selling papers is easier when you lead with shit like that, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I would buy those papers.
Yeah, you want to find out what happened here. Like,
Yeah.
you show Mia Kirshner on the cover of something, and I'm going to buy it, and then later on find out it's like her beauty tips or how she makes a kale smoothie. But it is what it is. Now, what else would you expect from newspapers like the LA Examiner, who also invented yellow journalism? Quick side note, always worth mentioning here, folks. I say this, Harrington, you got to bounce too, don't you, bud? I love this guy. Stays late too. Works way past his hours here. William Randolph Hearst was once sued for a case of yellow journalism because one of his magazines published an article that alleged that the then still living Annie Oakley was caught and arrested with cocaine during an orgy.
I didn't even know she did cocaine.
That is Annie Get Your Gun, folks. That's Annie Oakley, okay? And William Randolph Hearst plays into this idea that she was in this, again, an orgy is scandalous to begin with, and you add in cocaine, which for the times was even wilder. Annie Oakley sued his ass and won. So he dropped the story. So Annie Oakley's honor remains intact, folks, much to the chagrin of William Randolph Hearst. But all of a sudden, this idea is that the crime is actually some sort of a sex lust type of murder. That's going to begin to take hold a little too easily. Stories are going to come around about Short being a tease to men. There's nothing worse than a tease. A girl that just coasts along the way, waits till the dinner bill comes, and then says, "Oh, I have a thing." You know?
I did get up early tomorrow, but this has been great.
I would definitely see you again. There's a fantastic Korean barbecue place down the street that is just to die for. You'll love it. Now, there's rumors of that, her being a mainstay at nightclubs and bars in the area. Rumors of both many male companions. These could just be innocent dates. This could be maybe she just...
I mean, a pretty 22-year-old woman, single is going to go on dates. That's natural.
Yeah, and there's going to be creepy men that are drawn to that and occasionally pay their rent, as we've seen on our ride into the East Village.
Yes.
But they also start playing up other parts of this one here. They start playing up a very scandalous idea that maybe she doesn't have a ton of male companions. Maybe she, in fact, has an aversion to male companions. Wink, wink. They're playing up the lesbian angle, folks.
I didn't even know.
There was a band called Tattoo back in the day from Russia. I remember the whole thing. Like, the song was okay. It wasn't bad. But the whole sailing, like the gimmick that sold that whole thing was like, oh, yeah, by the way, they might be lesbians and they dress as schoolgirls. Oh, yeah, they kiss during their songs.
Do we have any videos that we can put up?
Harrington, I know you got to bounce in a second.
No,
If you can pull up Tattoo, just a photo of Tattoo. Nowadays, they're probably both looking like cleaning ladies.
Please don't make it up to date.
Yeah, show us the old Tattoo. Tatu, I think. If I
But yeah,
remember right.
obviously sex sells, and any story that they're going to put
This is
out,
Tattoo
if people
now.
involved,
That's Tattoo now.
That's not bad. Way better than I thought it was going to be.
No, this
Not at all.
looks like the AEW tag team champions right now. Actually,
And then this was them.
that was
in
them
the
back in the
90s.
day.
A little punk rock vibe. I love it.
Yep, the girl on the left always, she always looked like she was going to wind up going into modeling, and then the girl on the right looked like she'd make a hell of a bartender in, probably old school Williamsburg. But you were saying, buddy, I interrupted you with young lesbians.
Once again, KP, not the first time this year. I don't even remember what I was talking about.
They have that effect on you, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is a crime episode? Wild. But it, by the way, that is true. It is getting hard to tell the difference between fact and fiction, because now they're even playing up the idea that she was found wearing a tight black skirt when she was murdered. So yeah, that's not what she was found. She was wearing a black suit, like a respectable suit, like you'd see, like a business lady of the time frame. I would
Business
say.
lady, maybe going on a job interview.
Yeah,
maybe-
she's dressed like what. She's not scandalous in her outfit at all, and it was not reported as being scandalous the night before. They do have people that were spotting her, but also the true facts get lost in the story because, like I said, there's 500 people confessing to having, been the murderer. Media is at a goddamn fever pitch over here because it's getting hard to tell the difference. People are going to run with half details. They run with sloppy reporting. Good thing we don't fall for that anymore. Don't ask me why I'm not on Twitter, folks. The media is at a fever pitch. The story is running on steroids. And in fact, a letter is going to arrive to the Examiner. Mike Harrington out. You're the man, buddy. The LA Examiner gets a letter congratulating them on what a good job they did. You want to guess who wrote the letter?
Could it be the person who made money off all those newspapers getting sold?
You would think it would be William Randolph Hearst, but again, you can't trust anything with the media because they've been absolutely see-through in terms of how unethical their behavior is. This letter that they get, old school style letter, like an old ransom note where it's all words cut out from newspaper clippings, and it congratulates them on a great job that they did. He goes, by the way, I'm the Black Dahlia murderer. I'm the one who got rid of everybody. So I'm the one who offed Elizabeth Short. That's what he's saying. So it kind of sounds like it's just somebody looking for a little limelight. Maybe it's another prank gone wrong. We've already had 2 on this episode so far. But interesting note here, this letter has been cleaned of fingerprints also by gasoline.
Gasoline.
Now, Rich, what do we know gasoline was used for as well?
Earlier, they wiped down the body.
It matches, all right? There's at least some. Now, he also sends Elizabeth Short's birth certificate and a couple other pieces of, like, personal identification. So this guy at least knew her, right? And he's messing around, and he's claiming that he's the one who, committed the murders over here. So, yes, a man claiming to be the killer did send a ransom-style newspaper clipping over to them and had personal items of Elizabeth Short's. The letters and envelopes, like I said, cleaned with gasoline to avoid fingerprints. The LAPD and the FBI are able to get fingerprints off the letters. We got our killer, Dom. We've caught the killer.
Bum, bum, bum.
We have their fingerprints right here on this letter where they admit to the crime and they have we can put them at the scene if we could just find out whose fingerprints they are. Rich, what happens if there's no fingerprints in the database?
Then it could be any of the other 150 million people living in the United States at the time.
Yeah. The definition of hitting a frozen stone wall. They finally have the lead that can probably crack the case, and they got nothing out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great if A, they're in the system, or B, you had suspects to match them against.
There's
Then
also
they're perfect.
Yeah, a couple of prints too are damaged in transit, or they weren't taken. It is again 1947, folks. There's a very long list of suspects. It's going to include nightclub owners, Hollywood workers, infamous gangsters. Bugsy Siegel's name comes in here.
The Joker.
Mickey Cohen, the Joker. Oddly enough, I swear to God, Orson Welles is listed as a suspect.
That poor guy.
Yes, Orson Welles.
Rosebud.
So why would you want to frame, or at least put Orson Welles' name attached to the crime? And my theory on this, because I don't think the theory came out official, like in anything published, until the 90s. But if anybody knows anything about Orson Welles, he made some very important movies. His legacy maker, I would say, is probably Citizen Kane.
Sure.
Which is, he plays Charles Foster Kane. And
who's that based off of?
William Randolph Hearst. That's correct. And William Randolph Hearst actually brought him out to his island a bunch of times to say, hey, you seem like a nice guy. Don't make this movie. I don't need this bullshit. All right, don't make the movie. You're a nice kid. I'll help fund your next feature. What do you want to make? Make anything but this movie. And Orson Welles, because he's a goddamn G, goes, I'm making this movie. And I kind of overheard a little detail here. If you've seen Citizen Kane, folks, this is a true story. Rosebud is the mystery of the movie. I won't give away what it actually means.
Spoiler alert.
Yes. Well, I'm not giving away the end result here, but Charles Foster Kane's dying words, it's the opening scene, that's why we can say it, are, and also if you haven't seen Citizen Kane yet, I believe it came out the same year as Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz. I might be right about that.
Yeah, 38 or 39.
Just epic movies, the three of them. But Citizen Kane is still groundbreaking to this day, and studied for this one. The dying breath of Orson Welles playing the character based off William Randolph Hearst, his dying words are Rosebud. And Rosebud is apparently what William Randolph Hearst used to refer to his girlfriend's vajayjay as.
Can we keep this clean?
That's...
So his lifelong pursuit was that.
Yes. So it was very, very meta of you, Rich.
Woof.
So
where's that picture of Sidney Sweeney again?
It's well, he slid a couple very personal details as like a giant middle finger to William Randolph Hearst. So what if one of his papers kind of alluded to him maybe being in a... And by the way, they knew it wasn't going to stick, but they're like, oh, he'll have to deal with at least a week of bad press for this one. Someone's not going to film his next movie about King Henry VIII because of this one. I'm not saying it happened, folks. I'm saying it's feasible. But the letters from the killer are going to lead to several wild goose chases, including one letter that claims that the killer, he goes, well, I got tired of waiting for you guys to come punish me, and I'm a coward. I don't want to go to jail or get the chair or whatever. So I slip and slided myself. Yeah, so that's another dead end on that. You know, obviously. We got a guy admitting that he's the person, but he won't tell us who he is, but then he slip and slides. What are you going to do?
All right, case closed. Let's move on. Right?
Case closed. Time to move on. Until another letter shows up. Yes, now he's going to say, he goes, well, listen, I didn't do it. I didn't have the courage to go through with it, but I do want to turn myself in now. Here's a place and a time that I'll be at said place. So send the LAPD to come get me. Cops are down there, detectives, everybody, probably a little bit of a stakeout, maybe an FBI agent or something like that. Maybe Josh Hartnett. I don't know. But yeah, nobody shows up. Another wild goose chase on that one. So now they're having a hard time proving that the letters from the killer are even legitimate. And the one thing that ties them in there is because they're talking about how the letters were cleaned with gasoline. Now, that's a detail that the press was running with because they were getting inside scoops on certain things. One very, very smart thing that they had here, because they realized that the LAPD was aware that news press coverage was going to be way too much to keep up with. Mm-hmm. So they actually did a thing. I forget what it's called. There's a disinformation and misinformation.
Yeah.
So I believe they publicly ran with, if we give misinformation to the papers can sell more papers, right? You now have new details of the Black Dahlia killing. And then when people make these confessions, we can weed out who's full of shit and who isn't.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a great tool. They still use it today all the time. Every criminal, like a large-scale criminal investigation, the investigators are going to hold information back. So you know.
No shit. So it's still in play.
Oh, absolutely. That's how you can tell if there's false confessions or not.
That's right. Get them
there's
to
always
expose their
something,
own.
Yeah. If you hold back some piece of information, then it's in your back pocket.
Did you ever pretend a fax machine was a polygraph by chance? Did that ever happen?
I did. No, that would be excellent.
The bigger, what is it? The bigger the lie, the more they believe. I think that was the line.
Yeah.
Season 5 of The Wire. It's not as bad as people say.
Just watch 1 through 4 again.
That's I don't think I'm going to rewatch 5, but yeah. Watch The Wire, folks. Turn this off right now. Just go watch The Wire. You'll learn about as much. Don't worry, Dom. We're wrapping up here, buddy. The letters from the killer proved to be a wild goose chase, but the one smart thing the LAPD did, like we said, they run with the detail that Elizabeth Short was tortured while she was alive. Medical examiners at the time were able to prove that all of these, the cutting of the torso and everything, was after she had died, which is crazy that they're able to tell that. I'm blown away by science. I did not do well in that subject in school.
Yeah, science, it works. It works sometimes. But yeah, it's amazing just, reading autopsy reports, the things they can figure out just by those simple things like the type of the cut, the way the cut's through the skin, whether the person was still alive, dead. Some are easier, but I mean, just the magical things that they're able to figure out from a few details.
It's I think the word was expangiate or something like that, the way that the blood flows when the person is deceased versus alive. Josie Marzolino, a good friend of the show, she tried to use that word because she's very smart, but she tried to use that word and stumbled over it, and the whole rest of the episode was just her feeling like an idiot. She's like, I just fumbled because I tried to use a SAT word on a fucking podcast.
No, you can't throw words like that out. I mean, here at Loser you can. You fit right in, but
she knew she was at Gas Digital. She didn't realize that we were going to be talking about science and history combined. But this is actually a genius move by the LAPD because they run with the fake story about the torture because they know that anybody who says, yes, I tortured her before I did this.
Right, yeah.
Now you're like, all right, whatever, lunatic, get out of here. All right, get back to your audition for The Tonight Show. Whatever, you got to go hang out with Jack Parr and moron. So they're smart on that one because they have to, first of all, you got to determine the legitimacy of the confession.
100%.
You ever see a criminal, I'll throw it to you this way. You ever find somebody, it doesn't matter what the crime was either, it can be something very petty or something a little bit more serious, where they either think that they've outsmarted you, but they outsmart you to the degree where they step on their own dick and they made an ass, they showed their whole ass, if you will.
Yeah.
Or have you had the other one where it's they try to throw you off and then they don't have the right details like you were talking about? You ever have a situation like that?
Throwing us off without the right details almost all the time. Because, if they don't think you're going to ask follow-up questions like, oh, it's here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what do they wear there? Who is your server? What'd she look like?
Just one base question.
In terms of talking themselves into trouble, you see that too in terms of when they want to go down a road and they really think they got you, and all of a sudden they try to give too much information. So it's the two things investigators really train to look for in interrogations is not enough information, why is it being left out, and then too much information in terms of, you ask them where they went to eat and they start telling you everything they had through the whole meal, and then I had club soda, but I sent it back because not enough ice, and then blah, 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 blah. They're trying to overwhelm you with the information, and there's a reason.
And because I guess we always put this, it's very funny because even the people that hate police or just have an anti-authority thing, absolutely everybody has fantasized about being a detective at some point.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I always say because I'm a public safety instructor now, and there's a reason 73% of TV shows have to deal with cops or criminals.
Oh, that's a good
drama.
point.
Everything's cops, criminals, crime, something. It's just the idea of human behavior and trying to figure it out, and then trying to catch people who've committed crimes. I mean, it comes to our basic of what we're trying to figure out why people do things.
And whenever we want to lionize or put more nobility on a detective, it's always somebody he bucks the system. Where you're like, no, we only want cops that follow the rules. Unless there's a detective who just knows.
Just knows.
Something's not passing the smell test.
Yeah, and then...
What's your reaction when you figure out somebody's full of shit? Because I would wear it on my face. I would just be like, whatever, dork. All right, you figured out, don't we?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at straight-facing until the very end.
Yes, you are. As a person who considers you a good friend, yes.
Which is good in those scenarios.
We have a name for it. It's called Rich Face.
I give rich face to many of my friends.
It's when we know we fucked up. We're like, all right, can't talk about this anymore. I guess we're not talking about that one SummerSlam party. Okay.
Oof. I still have images.
I threw a ball over his basement.
That's true.
I swore there was a bathroom down there. There wasn't.
He went behind the bar as if there was a magical place to hide it.
Who doesn't have a sink behind their bar?
And there was a dry sink, and you still missed that by about 1.5 feet. That was the best part. Yeah, I mean, if people are talking themselves into it, like into a hole, just keep letting them go. You don't let them know. You try not to let them know right away, because that'll give them, if it was just one mistake, they might be able to go back. If they keep digging that hole, where they've been, what they were doing, who they talked to, who they didn't, let them go with the whole story.
We've got, we've known, in comedy, we've met a ton of bullshitters where it's, and that's always fun too. Let them keep talking. And
I thought you were going to bring up Kevin Garifo, and you did. So good.
Garif is the best. Will not come on the show. Will not leave West Orange. We'll bring him in via satellite. Here on the line with us now, folks. No, we've met a ton of bullshitters too, and it is fun to let like comics in a green room. Mm-hmm. I know. Dom's been around a ton of comics. They have a way of telling you how busy. Oh, I've just been so busy. And then you listen to what they've been up to, and you're like, I would absolutely love to have that little going on.
Yeah.
I don't know, folks. Yes, I keep a day job. I do a little bit of tree work. Yes, I'm a committed stepdad. Yes, I have a podcast where I force myself to write 5 pages every single week and then condense it down into 90 seconds for Instagram likes so I can get cool points about knowing Diplo. I also somehow find time to work the road as a feature and sometimes C-room headliner. But I would absolutely love to be so busy right now because you've been helping someone move. I would love that. You're like, yeah, I've just been working so hard, man. Got this huge check for these couple of jokes I wrote for this project that's not going to come out.
You're like, oh, thank you. But with the bullshitters, the more you let them talk, the bigger the pile gets. I mean, you know that. They say one line and walk out. You're going to be like, wow, that guy must be busy.
That is, I never thought I was the, I don't want, there's a better term for it, but I'll go with strong silent type until comedy. Mm-hmm. And just you have it too, where we don't have a need to over talk, and then you have people that can't shut up at all. And there's comics like, and whatever, I'll throw his name out there. I like the guy personally. Gino Pisconti is a guy that'll talk to you like you're his best friend. Now, to be fair to him, I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, but I watched him in the most impressive way talk to me as if I was an old friend that he was reuniting with and just give me the details of his life. Like, I'm an open book. And he is that kind of a guy.
Yes.
But then also, as soon as I left, he's like, is that KP Burke?
He told me everything that's going on in his life.
He's Dombrowski's friend. Call Dombrowski. Who's the giant-headed Irish guy? Big Rich from Jersey.
That's guy with no neck. You know who I'm talking about. You know it.
Come on, Big Head, New Jersey, middle. Joe Fernandez. That's Joey, you're coming in soon, pal. But yeah, I like what you're saying. Let the bullshitters keep talking.
Let them talk.
They'll bury themselves. And they're able to weed out a bunch of people. They actually do, in fact, the only prosecutions for this crime that are kind of worth noting. There's 2 things that are worth noting for the crime, because obviously they don't catch the killer.
Yet.
Well, I'm going to go into the one theory in a second, which is the one made most famous by the James Ellroy novel. But there's 2 actual legal actions that are taken on account of this case. Number 1 is that they get so pissed off with all the fake confessions that the LAPD begins charging people once they can prove that you're full of shit. So like Rich was saying, let the bullshitters keep bullshitting. And these pissed off detectives that are probably barely able to afford the city they're living in right now. You know, this is old school LA.
Oh yeah.
There's a young Charles Bukowski walking around figuring out cigarettes and wine for the first time. It's not a lovely place. It's not all Hollywood. And they get so pissed off at this, they're like, I can't listen to another moron confess to the murder of Elizabeth Short. You're getting charged with obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
That's the only actual, charges finally in the murder. And by the way, William Randolph Hearst papers would run with that. Be like, charges filed in the murder of Elizabeth Short. The Black Dahlia killer finally charges. It's obstruction of justice. It's on page 6. Right after this
false report.
Right after this article about Annie Oakley's rehab. But, the coverage is so bad at this time. The other thing that winds up coming in here is that they do, in fact, do a grand jury where officers have to speak under testimony. Have you ever had to do that? I assume you have?
Yeah.
Is it, we also dramatize the courtroom quite a bit.
Yeah, again, the legal dramas that you watch. Grand jury is, 25 people who don't want to be there. listening to the prosecutor ask you questions.
As opposed to 9, right?
Yes, as opposed to 12 who really don't want to be there.
It's always crazy to me with the Washington politicians is that they can't wait to be forced to testify. They're like, finally, my time has arrived. Like, I feel like this is because you did something bad.
Yeah.
But those people, they swear, C-SPAN testimonies. That's like the. I feel like that's the bringer show of politics. That's. If Harrington was here, he would have loved that.
That's a good one.
But it is nuts that they are so upset with the fact that this is one of the. There's a bunch of murders going on in L.A. and it's the second biggest. It's the emerging superpower city in America post World War II era, and you got all this industry there. You got all these promising things for California, and they can't solve murders sometimes of women and children, and Elizabeth Short is included in that list, and these cops are forced to testify here. And when they're asked directly about Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia murder, why did we not find this person? They say about that case in particular, unequivocally, it was. We couldn't solve it because the press ran wild with it and we were looking for someone who didn't exist. Elizabeth Short was a real person. The Black Dahlia is now a myth. So they played up the whole idea here too. I mean, there's a million conspiracy theories about her. Everything from her having miniature genitalia. I don't know if you read about that one.
No, you're thinking of someone else.
That's it.
Yeah, micro penis at one ball. That's not Elizabeth Short.
A one-armed, one-balled man broke in
That's
here.
other yellow journalism that's occurring as we speak.
Well, it's terrifying stuff, man. But they're able to prove nothing in this case, essentially.
Yeah.
And but the testimonies that they're giving is they're saying, hey, the press ruined this one for us. We're on a wild goose chase. You gave way too many details out to the public where the public interfered. So the public, by the way, is complicit too. If you're watching this at home, anyone you know that was alive during 1947, you're part of the problem. I'm Dave Smith. It's there's one theory that a couple of the very dedicated crime writers have stayed with. And by the way, there's still articles coming out about this case. I think the most recent highly publicized one was like 2021 maybe. So this is within the last couple of years. But the best one that we saw over here was it's a theory, and this one, it was worth mentioning too because they had a long list of suspects between polygraphs, very solid alibis, and some very intense investigations. If you know what I mean, folks. All right, for the audio listeners, that sound is it's just picture what you would think a room full of. Picture what's going on at the Victory Motel outside on the outskirts of LA.
Yes, and it was before even Miranda rights.
Was it really?
Yeah,
No
that was
shit.
before Miranda rights, so you didn't have to even offer them a lawyer. You just started asking questions, and you'd be waiting for the answers you want.
Dom, I know this is terrible to say, but Dom, if you were to go back in a time machine to any era in history, there's always the cliches of, I would go back and stop Hitler or whatever. But Dom, if you could go back to any time period and just be able, because I think people are also mystified by the idea of going back to like medieval times and having all this knowledge. And Nate Bargatze does that great bit.
Like medieval times, but also like the 60s, I feel like would be perfect for me.
You go to Dom, I know you well enough.
Just to like be immersed in what's going on in the times. But I feel like medieval times would be pretty cool. Maybe like ancient Egypt.
Ancient's a good one.
Like, because all the hieroglyphs are the aliens are real, and like all the spaceships, they were big on like aliens helped them. If you like really look at the hieroglyphs,
100%.
So I'm like, maybe that's somewhere I would go to. There's too many time periods that I would be like.
If I had a time machine where I could take a vacation, though, because your answer is the right answer, by the way. Although I do feel like if you wound up in the 60s, you'd wind up in California, you'd have a longer beard, longer hair, and you'd have a harem of women that were carrying out your will.
That'd be good stuff.
I feel like I would be like sucked up in MK Ultra if I went to the 60s.
10,000%. It's Dom was here written in blood on the walls. But what's your favorite Beatles song, Dom? Inside Baseball, but Dom was here for all of our Manson episodes.
Your Helter Skelter episodes.
If I could go back in time and live my detective fantasy, I would go back to pre-Miranda rights, when you're just like, that guy did it. How do you know? He told me. Oh, how did he tell you? Well, you see all those marks on his face?
It took a few, but I got the truth out of him.
Anyway, full confession here, folks, so I don't know what else we need to see. My name is KP Burke. Get that right in the papers, will you, Hurst? The one big theory that that does pop around. This is the one that the novel goes into and then the movie went into as well. Dr. George Hodel. Is it Hodel or Hodel? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Potato.
Did you know anything about old Dr. George?
Very little. So I did hear that they obviously lean towards a doctor because of the style of cutting and
It
such.
matches the profile on that.
Yeah.
The other part was that there was a story of perhaps some inappropriate sexual misconduct, horrifyingly, with his own daughter. Now, you can't quite tell if the daughter was Looney Tunes either, though. That was because that's the easy thing. Oh, she's crazy, and you dismiss that. But there's also times when the person's actually crazy. And we're talking about this is 1947 when this crime happened, so this is years before when this inappropriate conduct happened. So probably got swept under the rug. Probably couldn't fully determine if the woman had her faculties either. But that theory of Dr. George Hodel being the person responsible for the Black Dahlia murder it still holds a lot of weight. So much so, in fact, that it became the center of James Ellroy's novel, The Black Dahlia, which is the book that is later made into the movie directed by Brian De Palma, starring Mia Kirshner as the fateful Elizabeth Short. So I'm going to wrap up here in a second, man. Is there anything else you want to throw in about The Black Dahlia?
Yeah, just the same thing. Reference was made in American Horror Stories, obviously completely fiction, but one of the seasons was based.
Was she in Murder House?
It was not the original Murder. Was it the original season?
That was Murder House, right? The first season.
So it wasn't in that house, though. It was a doctor near where the Elizabeth Short's body was found, and that he had kept different. That might have been a Murder House.
I forgot
Might
that
have
was
been
even
Murder
in
House.
there.
I get so confused by the seasons, but I remember the reference, and I remember it being a doctor, and he kept his doctor
It's the season with
downstairs.
Jessica Lange. That's it.
My favorite. Don't get me started. Jessica Lange. So, yeah, I mean, it's been publicized. It's been, rewritten, fiction, fact, 15 different ways from left to right. And it's kind of sad because she was just a young woman, we assume, walking down the street. And, that's the way she was found. And that's her legacy.
Even if you dress a little promiscuous, which she really didn't.
I mean, I do. I don't deserve it.
But you're oozing machismo.
Gracias, Ramones.
The key is that no matter what the circumstances were at the time, nobody deserves a fate like that. And then also, it's ritualistic in the sense of it reminded me of the opening scene of True Detective season 1, where it's ritualistic for him. This is a creepy crime where you're like, well, this wasn't just. This wasn't, hey, I screwed up, time to get rid of a body type thing. This isn't even like a good old-fashioned Tony Soprano, let's get him over to Satriale's to the pork store. This is, I want you to find it because I've posed her.
A very specific way, to the point where, like you said, he's cleaning up the entrails that are coming out of the body, wipes it under her body, so she almost looks like a tight package. There's no messiness. For forensic psychologists to tell you there's a reason for that.
Oof.
It's just about us trying to figure out why.
So you got to pull it. That's the other part too. As a detective, you have to play so many different ends of it.
Yeah.
So,
because you're looking at your victim. Where was she? What did she do? What are her relationships? And then you're looking at it from the actor, the criminal.
I like that
why does he do what he does?
We put detectives together in pairs typically, which I'm sure is not always the case.
Well, you try to get somebody who's in his last week before he's going to retire, and then you put him with someone young, maybe a little crazy, something to prove, off kilter.
Maybe
and
a little off.
The hilarity will ensue.
It's what a great Lethal Weapon reference.
Oh, what? Did they make that into a movie?
All right, so it's a young, crazy black cop and an older white guy. Nah, it's not going to work. Not going to work. You got to flip it around somehow. What if the older black guy's crazy? No. He needs the older guy's got to be steady, man. All right, listen, Gibson's in. All right, Gibson's in. We can get.
We need to put him with someone who's going to say, "I'm too old for this."
Oh yeah, it's good old Danny Glover. He we know so little about the actual Black Dahlia murder that we can't even prove that Danny Glover's not the one responsible.
No. And I mean, you got to look at people alive too. Betty White, alive.
Ooh, Betty White could have been doing it.
She was living out there.
America's
How is
sweetheart.
she not a suspect?
They tried to pin it on Orson Welles, but I think Orson Welles could be like, I was so fat back then, I never could have pulled off such
You think
a
he's going to
crime.
bend over and put her stomach underneath her body into her? No,
I was busy shooting a boxed wine commercial to pay for my next film about William of Normandy. That's not even what he sounds like, but I'm just having fun with it.
This is where we lose the audience, KP.
We're playing inside baseball, folks. I'm sorry about that one. I am going to wrap this one up. You guys know the deal. It's at KP Burke Sucks over on Instagram. Do me a favor. First of all, Big Rich, I'm very excited to. Now that he's done with his civic duty, he gets to return to the stage. We're locking up some dates beyond there. So if you guys come see me, I'll post about it. It's going to be some Jersey stuff because that's home for us, baby. All right, we're tourists here in the city. Got a couple other dates coming up too. Got to do another big dojo show before my baby gets here because I need your money.
Diapers ain't cheap.
No, I found that out the hard way. And then also shout out to I'll call her my cousin, but she's like another aunt to us, really. Liz Miles, my mom's best friend. She sent us a very wonderful gift for my unborn son. She sent us the two-way baby monitor. And then also
the baby needs to watch you?
That's right. This way the baby can keep eyes on me. All right. It's all about transparency. It's
They're making my brother.
And she
Sorry, I know you're trying to wrap this up.
No, you're good, dude. Shut up. And then she also sent us a ostrich feather duster. And we couldn't figure out who the hell sent us that. And in the back of my mind when I saw it, I was like, did Carly get a post-pregnancy sexy French maid outfit to put on for me? And this is just was it on the registry? Who's sending the fishnet stockings? I'm thinking about how good my girl's going to look in this outfit. And they get a text from my cousin Liz, and she just goes, yeah, so my cleaning lady asked for this, and for some reason Amazon sent you both things. And if Carly did have a French maid outfit, I would have told her, you don't want this back.
You don't want it back. I'm going to send you the two-way monitor, and we'll call it even.
But help me out, folks. At KP Burke Sucks over on Instagram. That's where we're having the most fun. The show's over on YouTube as well. Harrington is such a busy man. I love him to death. I got to get him to update the audio stuff because people who are asking me where the show is on Spotify and SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts, all that stuff, we're about 3 weeks behind, but that should get remedied here leading up to Thanksgiving. That being said, guys, if you're listening to this show on a long commute, which I know a lot of people do, I'm very sorry about the 3.5 hours of traffic on Canal Street that made us run here super, super late. And maybe we'll be home. I'd like to be home by 10 o'clock tonight, back to Jersey.
I have a feeling our trip back is going to be very planes, trains, automobiles type, where at some point I'm just moving in with you and Carly.
Dude, you'd find yourself quite welcome, all right? Now,
I like me.
Did you know if a room has a closet, it's actually considered a bedroom?
All right, I'm in.
The room you're staying in does not have a closet. I'm just going to be clear about that. But yeah, that's the gimmick for right now here. I'm going to wrap this one up. I want to say thank you to Dom. Thank you to Harrington. Thank you to you guys, the listeners here. And also thanks to Gas Digital. You guys have been amazing partners in all of this. The best way to end this is to literally quote a line from the FBI's own website. The murderer has never been found, and given how much time has passed, probably never will be. The legend grows.
We did our best.
We tried. Or is it the easiest one? Oops. The unsolved murder of Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia, American loser.
On the edge they take the throne, built on bones of those unknown. Not in first, never last, still erased from the past.